Call the meeting to order Tuesday, November 12th at 6:00 p.m. Call the regular meeting of the City of Aiken Planning Commission to order. First order of business, approval of the minutes from the October the 15th, 2019 work session and general meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor of approving minutes as read, raise your hand. Opposed?
I have to abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. No old business on the agenda. New business. First item is application number 20-20006, annexation request at 1224 Williams Drive by Karl and Sharon Bankert. Anybody here to speak in favor of this proposal? Yeah, okay. Well, you can speak or not. We got your proposal. So we know you're in favor of it, but I'll give you an opportunity to say something if you wish, but you don't have to. Okay. Anybody here to speak in opposition to this proposal? Okay. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in regards to application number 20-20006, annexation request, current zoning residential single family conservation, proposed zoning residential single family RS-15. It is inconsistent with the comprehensive plan, so I move that we take this to council for consideration.
And that we approve it.
Yes,
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Opposed, like sign. Okay. It is approved. 3B has been postponed. 3, new business 3C, application number 20-20008, an annexation request on 327 East Pine Log Road by Mr. Karl Johnson. Anybody want to speak in favor of this? Yes. In favor of? In favor. Okay. Anybody want to speak in opposition to this? Okay. Do I have a motion on this one?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to application 20-20008, an annexation request for a tax parcel number 122-10-04-002. Current zoning is office residential. Proposed zoning with limited business. I ask that we move this to City Council as is consistent with the surrounding uses and zoning and appropriate for those areas. And it's also within our comprehensive plan.
Okay.
With the possible conditions of approval that obviously BZA will have to be special exemption.
Correct. And I assume Mr. Johnson is aware of that, but that's out of our control.
Right.
Second.
Okay, second. All right. Discussion? All right, everybody in favor? Raise your hand. Opposed, like sign. Okay, that one's approved also. Okay, 3D, application number 20-91004. This is a revised concept plan approval for property adjacent to Woodside Executive Park by P&S Property Holdings, LLC. This is a concept plan covering the whole area, and this is a revised portion of the area. They're asking that the change be made, revising the original concept plan, and it would state the zoning would remain the same. I assume that but it comes within the purview of the city council once this plan is approved. Anybody want to speak in favor? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission. I'm Clark McCants. I practice law here in Aiken. I'm here on behalf of Woods Market this evening, and also Ms. Johnson, who operates this business, which is currently located on Dougherty Road. In addition, wearing my hat is counsel for this very fine business. I'm a little partial because of the customers. I hope you are also at some point in time. It's a wonderful local retail outlet which is unique to Aiken, sells very unique farming products, other goods, produce, various milks, interesting cheeses and meats. I don't know if you know Mr. Hunter, but you can buy ostrich meat.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that sign.
Woods Market, if you're so inclined. I myself am not terribly inclined in that regard, but it is available to you if you would like to partake in that regard. My client took a look at this property out on Silver Bluff and said to herself, this would probably be an ideal new location for Woods Market. And an exploratory process began working with Tilden Hildenbrand, who I think y'all all are familiar with. He's worked very hard with Ryan and others, with engineers within the city, to put together a plan to make this retail outlet work on a piece of property, and I'll let Tilden perhaps speak to this, which has got some right close restrictions due to utility easements and whatnot, which may not allow it to be suitable for any type of business. But again, they've worked very hard to put together a proposal which will work on this property. As we all know, it took some time, but Silver Bluff Road is now, I believe, because I was involved in the condemnation of it, it's a beautiful stretch of road. And I think this outlet would be a true asset to that area of Aiken at this point, especially given the unique aspect of Woods Market. That's kind of the practical side of things. Let me speak to the legal concept, if I can, for a second. And I do have a question I meant to ask if I was allowed at work session, but as you know, what has to happen here is a revised concept plan has to be approved by City Council first, venturing through your commission. And I'm curious, and I realize the original concept, revised concept plan in this area, the planned residential, was approved by the Planning Commission. My question is whether or not City Council ultimately approved the first proposed revised concept plan. I don't mean to pose questions to Ryan directly.
I'm assuming they had to.
It's my understanding, yeah, that was an approved concept plan.
All right, what that suggests to me, advocating for Woods Market, is this is clearly a concept that has been previously evaluated by you, by City Council, and it's been accepted and approved. So for that reason, I think that the applicant in this particular case, Woods Market, falls squarely in what would be legally permitted for purposes of this area of our city. I realize there's been concerns with regard to traffic flow and other issues in that regard. I understand there may be individuals here this evening that want to speak to that. I'm going to allow Mr. Hildebrand to address, and perhaps the engineer for the city to address the traffic concerns, because as I understand, and y'all know I'm a failed engineer, I can't speak to those things, but I understand those concerns have been addressed, and given the nature of the business and what may occur there from a retail standpoint, the traffic flow would not be significantly impacted. There's plenty of adequate parking spaces, in and outs, ingress and egress allowed for that. So I'm here on behalf of Woods Market, Mr. Chairman, and other members to advocate on behalf of Woods Market that this revised concept plan, again, which was originally adopted and accepted, now in its current form be approved by you and presented to City Council. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Just in our background, obviously I don't think anybody sitting up here was around in 2007 when it was done, but in our background, there was a previous revision which was approved by the City Council for 2 office buildings on this site in '07. And
I'm actually familiar with that a little bit, if I can add to it, because this came up in the condemnation issues. You talked about the retention pond. There's a group of businessmen that owned that lot next to the retention pond, and I believe that they had owned this lot too, and had planned office buildings where Woods Market wants to locate the retail establishment now.
And this, you're familiar also with the conditions that, that the planning department has recommended that we place along with our approval. If we approve this, there are conditions that they would recommend we adopt. You
I
familiar
think,
with those?
if I understand the ordinance correctly, they have to, Woodside would have to fall into those particular classifications and show that they're able to comply, it's my understanding.
Well, there's this landscape and tree ordinance and the signage and the 180 days and the access, sharing the parking easement, that kind of thing. Okay. Anybody got any questions of Mr. McCants? Okay,
Thank you for your
Thank you.
consideration.
thank you. Anybody else wants to speak on, yes, Mr. Hildebrand?
Good evening, I'm Chilton Hildebrand with Aston Hildebrand, 133 Greenville Street, here in Aiken. I appreciate that introduction by Clark. This is a very difficult site. I don't know whether you have, is there a laser pointer over here by any chance?
Use this one.
Oh.
It's the red button.
This property has a number of limitations, and a little rough to see it here, but there is an AT&T line that comes through the site. I'm not sure whether it's a fiber line or whether it's a copper line, but that restricts a good portion of the site. It's also a electric line that comes through here and I assume serves some of the Woodside Executive Office Park back here. Also an electric line that goes to the front. There's a water line, a raw water line, finished water line. John knows better than I do, but there's a water line here with an easement associated with it. And you can't see it on this plan, but there's also a 100-foot pollution-free radius around this well. And we're restricted, actually can't really do much of anything within that 100-foot pollution-free radius. So the site, the usable site area was pretty much limited to this area here, and we've come up with a building footprint and the required parking stalls here. There's an access onto Hidden Haven Drive, an access into the parking lot, which is fed by this drive going out to Silver Bluff Road. There would be no access allowed to this property by South Carolina DOT onto Silver Bluff Road due to the proximity of these two driveways. And we've run into this in a number of cases throughout South Carolina, but with the frontage here, again, DOT wouldn't allow an access out front. The owner plans to provide paved handicap parking access to that, paved, and provide as much gravel area as the city would permit in this parking area here so that we can minimize the stormwater runoff from the site. We will have to probably provide some detention maybe somewhere up in this area here, dumpster pad here. I think there was some concern about traffic generation based on the ITE traffic manuals. We predict that there would be about 78 to 80 trips per day for this site, which is, I think, certainly Pam's hopeful that she will have that number of trips per day.
I would think.
But we don't really see that as a significant impact on either one of these roads here. Again, very limited access to the site. I'd like to answer any questions that you might have concerning the development.
In that 100-foot easement on the well,
Yes.
would you be able to park cars in that area, or would that prevent any use whatsoever?
Well, my understanding, and John Poole, you might correct me, there would be no paving allowed, and a 100-foot pollution-free radius prohibits pollution sources. Whether a car parking there temporarily would be considered a pollution source, I don't think the city would encourage that. I guess the best answer is probably not.
So you'd have to restrict, I guess you'd have to post signs or something along those lines, probably to prevent that?
John, answer that.
I don't think that signs would necessarily be something that we would require because there will be a designated parking area associated with this
Right.
particular developments.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay.
So is the
Any other
cafe a planned, is it planned cafe, or is that up in the air? But there was mention of eating.
I have to let the owner answer that.
Yeah, we're having a kitchen where we'll cook quiches and tomato pies and stuff for the freezer. Up front, as we do now in our market, we serve coffee and muffins and things of that nature, just to walk through. Cafe meaning more for us coffee and a muffin to go as people walk through. But like I said, we have that now. But more so a kitchen just to cook for the store for to-go meals.
So it's more a kitchen?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Pamela Ely. E-L-Y.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions of Mr. Hildebrand by anyone? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to speak on this? Yes, Mr. McMichael.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, appreciate the opportunity. John McMichael. Woods Market is a customer of mine. I work with her on her business and the insurance side of it. And I just want to say that somebody's going to develop this property. And if I had to choose a neighbor, she would be the one I would choose. I tell you what, somebody that has spent a lot of time and effort trying to be a good neighbor as they're moving into this project is an understatement. She has put a lot of time and effort into meeting, reaching out to the community, and trying to blend in and do the right thing for the right reason for this area. She's looked at a lot of the architectural side of it as well as the landscaping side of it to be as green as possible and to not be an attraction but be an enhancement to the community. So from an economic standpoint, she really is, this project really is, speaks to the economic growth that we see in our community. She is a true entrepreneur, and this business supports and also associates with 60 farmers in the area so that they can have products that they can have for sale in there. So that speaks to not only serving herself but the community, and many of the products, as Clark spoke to earlier, are very unique, but they're also very very beneficial from health standpoint because many of the products are very organically grown and supported. So people that need to, because of dietary needs, are able to come in and get products that that they don't have to worry about insecticides and things like that being involved with it. So from a standpoint of economics, I think it'll be great. Just from the aesthetics part of it, I think that people in our community like the diversity that she offers in her business, and certainly will continue. So from that standpoint, I think it's economically it's great. From a good neighbor standpoint, it's a good fit. And from the standpoint of adding additional traffic there, it's not a kind of business where you're going to have a lot of traffic at one time during peak times. In fact, most of her traffic that she will receive in there will be intertwined during the day at non-peak hours. And I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but I don't think I've ever seen any more than 4 or 5 cars at one time. It's just that kind of business where you have people come in, they browse, they leave, you get a few more come in. So it's not a huge traffic issue. So from the standpoint of all those things, I truly support this, and we salute an effort by a business to really try to be a good neighbor as they move in. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, John. Okay, anyone else want to speak on behalf of it? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Dr. Sarah Wyndham. I own a line chiropractic at 6110 Woodside Executive Court. So I would be looking out my window at her. I hope to be her neighbor. I have purchased products from her for quite a while. I'll mirror the same thing of, even though it's steady, I've never seen more than just 5, maximum I think I've ever seen is 5 cars in the parking lot at one time. She offers unique products. She supports many people in the local community. She has a tremendous heart and conscience, and I would love to have her as a neighbor. I'd love to be able to drop by and get fresh tomatoes when they're in season without having to drive down Daughtery or some other road to get it. I think
Anything you can do to stay off Daugherty is a positive thing.
For all of us.
For everyone, for everyone.
I went there to get her tomatoes, though. So, and there's many products she offers, and she's just a very responsible individual, and she brings a lot to the community, and I think she will bring a lot right there. I've seen some of the pictures of some of the plans, and it maintains the park-like atmosphere that we've grown accustomed to as far as our businesses being there. So,
Okay,
hopefully.
thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioner.
State your name,
Commission.
please, sir, and your
Eric
address.
Francis. I'm the president of the Hidden Haven Homeowners Association.
Gotcha.
I'm here to address a couple items, and I heard something tonight that even goes further with our concern, and it was about the traffic. Of course, Hidden Haven is at the end of Hidden Haven Drive, and Hidden Haven is our only means of ingress and egress. Currently with 77 homes, that's an average of 2 cars per home, some 3, some 1. But that's our only, as I say, that's our only means of ingress, egress. And we're concerned about if you allow them to put a entrance and exit from the parking lot onto Hidden Haven Drive, that is going to add to the traffic problems. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, there's a business owner that's on Silver Bluff, Keaton Patel, that owns the 3-way gas stations. He owns 22.5 acres behind Hidden Haven and has at one time submitted a proposal to the Planning Commission to put an additional 80 homes. I think he has retracted and said, I don't want to do that now. I'm going to put the property up for sale. But with the potential that you can put 80 homes in there, and using one of your statistics, it's an average of 3 cars per home. So there's a potential for 240 more cars. Without having another means of ingress, egress to the community, that puts an awful burden on that drive. Thank God they put a turning lane in for us to get in and out, but it still creates a hazard. I'm going to go on to something different, and that has to do with the signage. And I don't know what the city states about signage. I have no opposition to the lady putting a facility in there. I know my wife has gone to her facility on Doherty Road. It's great, you know, to have somebody that wants to invest in the city, but the traffic issue and the signage, is there going to be a limit as to what type of signage can go along Hidden Haven Drive?
Yeah, there will be. Ryan, you want to just touch on that?
So, a property is allowed a single ground-mounted monument sign in the planned residential district. So that would be, they would, and along one frontage, in this case. So it seems it could be more optimal to put the signage along Silver Bluff. I believe, that's what the site plan shows. Additionally, the building itself can have, signage, no greater than 20% of the front and no greater than 25% of any side, on the building itself. Those are the two types of signage allowed.
As two of the gentlemen have already spoke, they said that there probably wouldn't be any more than 70 or 80 vehicles per day. With the Woodside executive entrance and exit, would that not be sufficient for those 5 cars at a time to do their ingress, egress to this business, instead of having to disrupt Hidden Haven Drive? And I'm not the only community representing the only community. You have people that are across the street in Melrose Place, and there's 4 roads with numerous houses on those also.
And they come into Hidden Haven?
No, Melrose is a separate.
They don't come into Hidden Haven?
No, they don't go all the way in. They use Hidden Haven Drive.
Come into Hidden Haven Drive?
Right.
Got you. I
Yes,
got you.
sir. Yes.
I got you. Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Thank you. Do you want to, does anybody want to speak to his questions about, that he wrote, any points he raised? Okay. Come on up. Thank you. Have a
All
seat.
right, thank
Have
you.
a seat.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Pat Williamson, 1726 Alpine Drive. I own property on Rutherford Place, which is the first street when you go into Hidden Haven. It's on the left in Melrose. And you said the traffic concerns have been addressed, but you didn't say how. How have they been addressed?
The traffic study did not show a significant level of traffic to require any changes.
Okay, so.
They're based on the number of cars and, you know, we're not addressing necessarily future stuff later on, but we're talking about right now.
Okay.
The traffic study indicated, I don't know, 75 cars, something like that a day in and out.
Really?
70.
Because there are 128 properties that are off of.
We're talking about this property.
Right, that she may have, they said 80 trips per day. Does that mean 40 vehicles are going to come in and they're going to make a trip in and a trip out? Is that 80 trips per day?
That would
That's
be-
correct.
Okay,
Yes, sorry, to clarify, yeah, a trip is, somebody coming into the site is counted as a trip, somebody leaving the site is counted as a trip.
okay. But you've got 128 houses back off of Hidden Haven that have to have ingress and egress through that only one way. And that really is a concern. The only concern that I've heard expressed is about the traffic. The traffic it is difficult there right now to get in and out of there. So that's the concern. And without having an alternate way to get out of that area, if there was an emergency, I don't know what people would do if they had to actually leave the area.
Okay, thank you.
That may be something other than the concern for the Woods Market as opposed to just concern for that area in general. Okay.
Do you want to, does anybody want to speak to the issue they raised about the, not needing the other entrance? Mr. McCants, you want to speak to that? Yeah, Tilden, you want to speak to, the comment was made or a question was raised, do you need both entrances?
Yeah, I'll talk to that, and I do want to, let me hold your pointer again. I'll address first the simpler issue. There's one sign planned, and that sign would be placed here along the frontage of Silver Bluff Road, and it will be a monument ground-mounted type sign that meets the square footage requirements of the city. Also, we looked at a number of different configurations of this drive system. When we design these, I typically don't like to have a parking lot that has a dead end. In other words, if you get in here and you're pretty much committed to come in here and you get to the end and all these spaces are full, then you've got to figure out how you're going to back up, back out, whatever. So it's always optimal to have a through way in a parking lot. Also, she plans to have her dumpster here, and in order to get to that dumpster with this angle, the trash truck would have to come in this way. He'd have to service the dumpster, and we certainly would not want him to have to back all the way out. This connection provides access for him to get out of the parking lot once he's all the way at the end. And I guess for clarification, and I don't mean to put Ryan on the spot, but is there, in the city's traffic considerations, is there some threshold that would require some significant study and consideration of mitigation related to a city street here? I guess the intersection of this city street and Silver Bluff would be another animal, but Ryan, do you?
So the city traffic management ordinance does not require a full traffic study. In this case, Silver Bluff is level of service D in this segment. The traffic management ordinance would require something to exceed 1,000 trips a day to trigger a full study, and that would be probably what we would expect, where you would start to see potential mitigation. The Department of Transportation generally sees anything less than that. It does not rise to the level where it warrants an improvement. So that's why that trigger is in there. So through general traffic analysis, the proposed traffic from this development isn't enough that it would warrant any additional improvement.
And I'm not saying certainly that this business would not increase the traffic based on the numbers, or based on the numbers that I had stated earlier. The level of service of Silver Bluff Road probably has more impact here than the additional traffic related to this business. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And the traffic on Silver Bluff Road, I think, is much better since they've made the improvements. It's busy. It's a busy, very busy road, no question about it, but it's better. It's better.
Did you look at entrance of emergency equipment, fire trucks, that sort of thing?
We did. We've routed a fire truck, or yes, a fire truck through here. If you see the, doggone it, this radius. This will allow a fire truck to come in and through and get back out. Obviously, you know, if you're fighting a fire, I guess backing out's not that big a deal, but this will allow a fire truck to go through.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good one. Okay, anybody else? Your name again, please.
Pamela Ely. I would like to address a couple of the concerns. One
Okay.
is we don't have a desire to put any road signs up on Hidden Haven Drive.
Okay.
What we do plan to do eventually is to clean up that whole side of our property, I think, and make it prettier for an entrance to Hidden Haven. We'll probably put up a horse fence eventually on that side that connects with what the horse fence is already up surrounding the property. And also, we don't advertise, but probably will never advertise in the paper or billboard. We have a very unique clientele that comes in. We sell raw milk, and you know, the community usually seeks us out, especially a lot of the community moving in from more farm-to-table friendly communities and environmentally, you know, I just believe in all ways we won't impact that area in any way. Like I said, we're not for everybody, and that's fine, but the clientele that we are, you know, they seek us out more so So therefore, we don't have a need to advertise. It's not that we don't welcome everyone, but I just feel like we have a specialty shop that isn't for the majority of people in Aiken, and that's fine.
I suspect that, you know, as far as people who are coming to your place, the sign on Silver Bluff is probably going to be the primary, that's going to be your only sign.
It will.
Coming off Silver Bluff.
It will.
So, you know, people that know it, I guess, could come either way, but anybody who doesn't is going to come off Silver Bluff.
Correct.
Right? That's the way I would think.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else?
We're married, sorry.
All right.
Sorry, you
We moved down here about a year ago.
State your name, please, sir, and
I'm
address.
sorry, it's Brian and Gail Keff. We live in Woodside, 145 Foxhound Run Road. We built a house there, just moved in. We found this wonderful lady at the Woods Market just by accident and found that we learned more about Aiken from her and the people that came in to deliver the products and the farmers than any of your literature that you have. Her products also have been very help to us medicinally. She has milk there that's unpasteurized, and I don't know if anybody else here has a little issue with pasteurized milk, but you can drink that unpasteurized milk. Get it with your cereal, works great. So we owe her a lot, and she's a wonderful person. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I don't know how to address his first town.
State your name, please,
I've been to
ma'am.
Gail Keff, 145 Foxhound Run Road. And we are frequent visitors to her shop. And we use Doherty Road, if that's how you pronounce it. And I've never had any trouble getting in and out onto Doherty except waiting like a minute and then I can get out because her shop is never crowded. It's not like McDonald's where you have a line of people waiting to order burgers, or it's not like a big marketplace where you have tons of people. It's just kind of a gentle flow all day. When I've gone there, I've seen maybe one other car there. I've seen one other person in her shop, and I think it'll probably continue to be this little continuous flow, and I don't think that it's going to be any trouble for traffic or causing a traffic jam anywhere. That's
Okay.
all I wanted to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, hello. My name's Dora Lee, and I'm the president of Melrose 3 HOA. And I have frequented that Woods Market many times, and I really, really like it. But the only concern that I have is the traffic. And we do have a lot of senior citizens in our community. Most of the people that live there are either retired or semi-retired, and they walk a lot. And the speed on our streets 30 miles an hour, and it might as well be 50 because most of the people just fly up and down the street. And so that is a real concern because people are always walking dogs and, just walking to get some exercise, and they come from Hidden Haven and the other streets that are in the community. So, it is something that we would be concerned about as far as the traffic. And any more traffic on that street because it's very narrow. There is nowhere to get off the road except for on to the side of the road. So you're in, weeds or whatever. So most people walk right on the sides of the streets. So that's my concerns.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sally Burke, and I live at 112 Cherry Hills Drive. I would just like to say that although there may be some problems, if anybody's willing to work them out and do everything she possibly can to help make it satisfactory to everyone, it's this lady. She has done so much for me, uncalled for, didn't have to. It's made a huge difference in my life because she gets me products that I can actually use. And so I'd just like to say her character is unquestionable. She really wants to help and make everybody she can happy.
Thank you. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kimberly Weta, and I live at 104 Rutherford Place. And I, too, have frequented the Woods store, and it is a very pleasant store. And we are very pleased that she's coming to our neighborhood. My concern is privacy. You know, we have a buffer now. And I just want to make sure that we maintain some kind of buffer that keeps it quiet over on our side of the road as she opens up the property to make it more visually pleasing and attentive to people driving by, that we can just continue to have some kind of a barrier, whether it be bushes, trees, that we can keep our street quiet.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes, yeah, come on up.
Matt Supran, 201 Pebble Lane. I close family friend with Karl and Cato Brinkley, and I've gotten to spend a lot of time at the market over the past few years, and it's a beautiful place to be. It's an awesome demographic to see people come in, the local farmers, and I want this place. I just want Aiken to be a beautiful place where people can visit, and I don't want to see like another Dollar General end up here, and that's all I really have to say. I just think,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, anyone else?
I have a question, Jack.
Yes, sir.
If you look down Hidden Haven, between Hidden Haven and the site, there's a lot of foliage, a lot of big trees along that road. I was over there this afternoon. A lot of those trees are marked. I don't know if they're marked to be cut, or if you guys know anything about that.
They were marked prior to us looking at the property, or when we looked at the property, those trees were already marked. So I don't know if it was for something else, but we didn't mark those trees.
I was just saying that if you were going to leave as much of that foliage as you could as a barrier.
Well, I'll leave it and put more up. I mean, I like this green space, and I like to close it off. I like our own little, world there. So I don't plan on, other than cleaning up that whole side.
Right.
Because it's a mess.
Right.
I plan on replanting there, so that there is a barrier. I don't want to disturb the community across from us, but I also want our own little private world there as well. So for both of us, I would replant probably the whole side down to Silver from the beginning of my property to the end.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would, I anticipate if we approve this, that, there obviously is a landscape plan and a tree preservation plan. And I'm sure you probably do more than the plan required. There's a plan you're going to have to follow, but you can obviously save as many trees as you can.
I asked Tilden if we could start with the tree house, and he told me no, because I want to keep I'll keep all the trees.
I don't know where that fit in the zoning ordinance. Yeah. We got enough problems with zoning ordinances now without tree houses. All right, anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I was just going to say, the surveyor said that the trees that are marked were part of the survey, and the trees that were not marked were not part of the survey.
Substantial trees.
That just means I assume that means there's substantial trees, which they would not want to cut down. Tilden could answer. Is that right, Tilden?
Yeah, we didn't do the survey, but she's exactly right. Any tree 8 inches and over is surveyed, and when the surveyor records it, he puts a paint mark on it. And I haven't seen that, but that's what we do too. Ribbons. He puts a ribbon around the tree to say, I got this tree, so it doesn't.
And he shows it on the plat.
And it shows on the plat, and they're recorded, and they're accounted for.
Good.
Very good.
Okay. You know, I know traffic, we hear a lot about traffic up here on various things, and I know traffic's, look, I hate Darty Road. I go on Darty Road 10 times a week, probably. Hate it every time I'm on it. And I have not seen a ton of cars at your place either. I really haven't. I mean, I've wondered how you stay in business sometimes, but.
60 customers that have keys, they're coming out of hours.
Okay.
And they get off shifts.
Yeah, because I'm riding by and I just don't see a lot of cars out there. But everybody, traffic is an issue, and it's an issue. But I'll tell you what, you know, I got a daughter that lives in Charlotte. She comes down here to visit us, and we start talking about traffic, and she just laughs, literally laughs. She says, "You don't have any traffic problems down here." The only place she will admit there is a bit of a problem is on Whiskey Road, especially down there where they're doing all the work on Darty and they're shutting down lanes and all that. She said, "Yeah, that's the way it is all the time up in Charlotte, you know." So we don't. So it's a relative thing. I understand it's all relative. We don't want to have those kind of problems, but we do want growth and we do want development. So it's a two-pronged problem. Okay, we had the public input, heard the application. Do I have a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
In regards to application number 20-91004, revised concept plan request, tax parcel number 107-06-04-001, 016, and 017. It's currently zoned planned residential. It's in compliance with the planned residential zoning criteria. Submit that we approve this and send it for council, and then with the possible conditions met.
And making the conditions a part of the motion to approve.
Yes.
Thank you, Charles.
Yes, sir.
Second. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a second on here. Discussion.
I just want to make another comment in regards to the traffic study. I think part of this could be really worse if we looked at it from a doctor's office standpoint as it originally was. I mean, I think a doctor's office is going to just drive potentially more traffic into that, and as a volunteer firefighter, that would be my worst case scenario, is an entrance that did not have an exit. And hopefully Hidden Hayden doesn't see an amount of increase of cars, but this would be a huge factor for us to come in there and fight that fire and be stuck in that parking lot. So.
Yeah, of the types of businesses that are eligible to go here, this is probably the lowest traffic I can imagine going in there, really. I mean, of the many businesses that would qualify to go in here. So, all right, that having been said, further discussion. All in favor of the proposal, raise your hand. Opposed, like sign. Okay. It is approved. Pass on to the City Council with our approval. City Council will make the call. Somebody might ought to get Ms. Ely on the Chamber of Commerce list. She got a lot of positive comments here. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second. All opposed, all in favor? Stand up.